Set out, and that is the setting for what should be an air battle between the AFC West champions San Diego Chargers and the runner-ups in the AFC West, the Denver Broncos. Hi everybody, I'm Marv Albert along with Jim Turner, and we welcome you to opening day in the NFL here on NBC in what should be a shootout. A matchup of Dan Fouts coming off a record-breaking, sensational offensive season going up against that superb Denver defense.
Marv, the weather could be a factor. It's been raining for a couple of days, but we have the #1 offense in professional football, passing offense against the generally regarded the best defense in all of football, the Denver Broncos. I just can't think that there would be a better game in America today.
And that Denver secondary during the course of a 4-0 preseason has been magnificent with 10 interceptions in the 4 games.
10 interceptions in 4 games. They're playing 5 backs with Mike Harden coming in as the extra back. Don Shula said 2 weeks ago this is the best defensive backfield in all of football.
And there is a quarterback question here in Denver. Will it be 39-year-old Craig Morton or Steve DeBerg getting the start?
Knowing Dan Reeves, I suspect it would be Craig Morton to start.
And we're getting set for the kickoff. The San Diego Chargers won the flip. They will receive. The rookie kicker, Rich Carlos, making his NFL debut. And this is James Brooks. Brooks across the 20-yard line. And we're underway here at Mile High. Nathan Poole making the stop. You look at the San Diego backfield. John Cappelletti, Chuck Muncie along with the quarterback, Dan Fouts. Wide receivers outstanding, Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler, and the super tight end, Kellen Winslow. And the offensive line, 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. And Fouts goes to the ground on 1st down. Chuck Muncie out to the 24-yard line. Barney Chavis making the stop. So a short pickup as we look at the Denver defensive unit. A surprise with Don Latimer getting the start at nose tackle instead of Reuben Carter. The linebacker, Jim Ryan, who's playing with a fractured left hand and torn ligaments in his right hand, along with Evans, Gradishot, and Jackson. And the secondary, right Kyle Foley, and Dennis Smith could be the man that Fouts looks to pick on. 2nd and 7. That's Ryan all over Fouts. Eric Sievers, the intended receiver.
Fouts starts out right away going against the man that's not there. Bob Swinson, number 51, is not here. He's going to try to pick on Jimmy Ryan, who has 2 bad hands. I think Dan is just trying to calm the crowd down with the first run and a little quick screen pass there.
Fouts now with a 3rd and 7 at the San Diego 24. Going deep. Wes Chandler not able to hang on. Aaron Kyle on the cover. And this crowd is rocking in the opening minute as San Diego is forced to punt.
He's not afraid to throw against anybody, Marv. It just proves the defense of the Denver Broncos this training camp has been simply outstanding. Excellent coverage by number 22, Aaron Kyle.
Rookie punter, Maury Buford, and fellow rookie Gerald Wilhite. And the fans did not like the fact that Wilhite called for the fair catch at the 36-yard line. A 40-yard punt, and the Denver Broncos will take over. Craig Morton getting the nod at quarterback. Rick Parros, Dave Preston are the running backs. Rick Upchurch, Steve Watson coming off a spectacular season, and the veteran Riley Odom. Minor, Glassick, Bryan, Stoddard, and Lanier up front. Some changes on the Denver offensive line. The swing for Preston to the 40. 1st down and more. And a fumble on the play, recovered by San Diego. So Preston picking up the 1st down, but he coughed it up. And the Chargers take over in Denver territory.
And it shows a difference in the offensive philosophy this year. The quick dump off. Craig was sacked so many times last year. It's an excellent hit. by the Chargers. Dave Preston rarely does this.
Lyndon King, number 57, making the hit.
And he squeezed, and you can see the ball sliding out. And Preston is still hurt. They're helping him off the field.
Combination of David Lewis and Lyndon King as we got another look at it. And Andre Young, the rookie strong safety, on the recovery for San Diego. That's Dave Preston. 5-year pro out of Bowling Green. And apparently all right, just dazed on the play. So San Diego first down at the 46. Underthrowing. Charlie Joyner somewhere in the area as the intended receiver. Aaron Kyle providing the coverage.
Dan didn't look quite as cool that time. Cool under pressure. Excellent coverage once again. This is the perfect time under their scheme of things, Mark. Open up, try to get a quick 6 in case the weather does turn bad.
It is 56 degrees, humidity at 60%. It has been raining on and off. 2nd and 10. Kellen Winslow across the 40-yard line. Larry Evans, inside linebacker on the left, making the stop on Winslow, who followed up on his sensational regular season with an outstanding preseason. 13 receptions, 3 touchdowns. We're told that Dave Preston, who coughed up the football a moment ago leading to the San Diego drive, was shaken up but is all right. It is a 3rd and 2 at the 38. Double tight end. Winslow and Sievers are the tight ends. Fouts with time. Looking for Joyner, but overthrew. Lewis White, step for step with Charlie Joyner.
A healthy Louis Wright this year. Missing 8 games last year. All overthrown. I think Dan Fouts could possibly be in for a long day with the attitude that the Denver Bronco defense has taken this year.
Fouts is now 1 for 5. 2.5 minutes gone by in this first quarter.
Smith is deep for the Broncos.
And it is a 4th and 2. So Maury Buford will punt. Now timeout has been called by San Diego.
Mark Buford will do the punting, number 7.
Now time back in. Here is Buford back at his 42-yard line. And Gerald Wilhite in single safety. Buford, the rookie out of Texas Tech, an 8th-round draft pick, beating out George Roberts in preseason. And let's see where they spot the football.
They would place out at the 16-yard line.
16-yard line is the indication, a 27-yard punt. And the Denver Broncos will take over at their 16.
That's the reason why San Diego took the penalty, to allow the punter to back up and have a little more working room. That's not a bad punt.
Denver Broncos last year finishing at 10-6, identical to San Diego, but the Chargers won the division championship on the tie-breaking procedure. Denver 5-3 in the division. San Diego was 6-2. Rick Farros, second-year man out of Utah State, stopped by the combination of Kelcher and Johnson.
I wonder if we're going to have the opportunity today, Mark, to find out if the Denver Broncos will throw to a receiver other than Steve Watson.
A check of the scoreboard. Cincinnati has defeated Houston 27-6. Here's another final at Giants Stadium in New York. Atlanta over the Giants 16-14 on a late field goal. Wild one between Washington and Philly. And Morton swinging on second down. Wilhite. Up to the 24, the left cornerback, Jeff Allen, making the stop. There's the #1 draft pick, Gerald Wilhite.
He's had an excellent camp, number 47, Gerald Wilhite out of San Jose State. Greg Morton has total, complete confidence in Gerald Wilhite. I still like to find out, I'm sure we will they throw to other people other than their long ball threat? Steve Watson today.
Rick Upchurch has not been a favorite receiver the last couple of years. Tight end Riley Odom, Ron Egloff have been receivers upon occasion. And Morton had time. Egloff not able to hang on. Ball looked to be deflected, but a penalty marker is down. Holding the call against Denver. Morton threw a bullet.
Decline, 4th down.
The right tackle, Ken Lanier, called for the hold.
Well, the coverage was excellent. You can see the ball was tipped. Egloff, normally very reliable receiver, didn't have a chance for that one, Marv.
So a punting situation. Luke Prestridge back at his 9-yard line. He was the AFC's leading punter 2 years ago. He slumped last season and had an inconsistent preseason. James Brooks is back. Here's Brooks to the 40. Across the 45-yard line. Hit down by Nathan Poole once again. So a 43-yard punt and a good return by Brooks, a 15-yard return back to the scoreboard. Green Bay now in front of Los Angeles. They came from behind and lead at 35-23. Buffalo leads Kansas City in the 4th quarter, 14-9. Detroit over Chicago in the 4th, 17-10. 1st and 10 for San Diego at the 48. And the swing. This is Muncy. Chuck Muncy, 1st down and more. Good block by the right guard, Ed White, to unleash Muncy. Larry Evans making the stop.
Ball is placed down at the 36. It's the 1st down.
Obvious both teams feeling themselves out the first few minutes. Marv, looks like San Diego's rather comfortable now. Muncy carrying a few extra pounds, but still maybe the premier running back in all of football. Excellent receiver.
Muncy looking to make it back after the well-publicized drug rehabilitation program. Last year played at 218. He's down to 232. This is Muncy again looking to follow blockers. Jim Ryan made the stop on the play. Kellen Winslow looking to lead the way for Muncy.
And the man, there's so many superlatives said about Kellen. Number 80, the best at his position. I'd say that's a very fine block on number 50, Jim Ryan. Marv, we've just been given a notice here that Rob Lytle just arrived at the stadium, father of a baby boy.
Congratulations to Rob, who I think we'll see later on in the ball game. It's a 2nd and 9, and it's Muncy again. So Dan Fouts keeping this series on the ground after he came out throwing and went 1 for 5. Chavis and Connor combined on the stop. And it sets up a 3rd and 5 for the Chargers at the Denver 31. We have no score. 9 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in this first quarter. That's Wes Chandler, who lined up in the backfield, and it did not work. Aaron Kyle had it diagnosed.
So difficult to run wide on the Denver Broncos defense. And the premier linebacker in all of football, Randy Gradishar, a little bit mix up in the lineup with Wes Chandler at halfback.
They were trying to set Chandler up for the end around. And so Ralph Bernerschke, one of the premier placement kickers in the game, Ed Luther holding. This will be a 51-yard attempt. it is good. Bernershka drills it home from 51. 8 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in this first quarter. And a very nice way for Ralph Bernershka to open up this 1982 season.
The longest field goal of his career was 53 yards right here at Mile High Stadium. It's always interesting to watch a gentleman after they've made a successful kick. He knows right about now it's going to make it. Let's see how he is. Well, Ralph, it's not old hat now. I know it's a 51-yard kick.
Jim, I notice you refer only to kickers as gentlemen.
Oh, they are gentlemen. Listen, those guys, they take enough grief from everybody else. They'll never get it from me.
Well, last year, Bernershka hit 19 of 26. He has made it back from Crohn's disease, an intestinal ailment, some 2 years ago.
And he finished off the most exciting game in the NFL last year against Miami in the overtime. San
Diego leading it 3-0 as Bernershka tees it up. Gerald Wilhite and Mike Harden await this kickoff. San Diego Chargers last year again had an outstanding season, but for the second straight year went to the AFC Championship game and fell short of getting to the Super Bowl. Wilhite to the 10, 20 as he bowls across the 20-yard line.
Gets the ball at the goal line. Gets it out to the 21. First and 10 for
Willie Buchanan, 11-year veteran out of San Diego State, making the stop on Wilhite. So first and 10 for Denver at the 21-yard line. And we welcome the viewers of the Kansas City Buffalo game who are now joining us. The rookie Wilhite right straight ahead, but a penalty marker down. It's against San Diego. Wilhite working his way to the 29. Marv Albert with Jim Turner from Mile High Stadium in Denver. You just saw the indication for the face mask.
I'm sure we'll be able to see the face masking, but what a nice run by the #1 draft choice of the Denver Broncos.
Makes it a first down by distance.
And some subtle offensive lineman changes for the Denver Broncos, with Claudie Miner moving to left tackle, Kenny Lanier starting at right tackle, and Dave Studdard at right guard.
And as you saw, David Lewis did not agree with that face mask call. It will be a first and 10 for Denver at their 34-yard line. Don Coryell, successful head coach of the San Diego Chargers. Sammy Winder, the rookie out of Southern Mississippi, stopped by Andre Young. For an update now, let's go to New York.
Marv, this is Byron Day in New York. You know, the Dolphins heading in the early going. Dolphins leading.
And back in Denver, where the Chargers lead the Broncos 3-0. First and 10 for Denver at their 45-yard line. Rick Barros on the slant picks up 2 yards. Leroy Jones, Louis Kelcher combined to make the stop.
The running backs carry the plays in. Marv, Sammy Winder, Gerald Wilhite, Rick Barros, and Dave Preston. I would think that they would be utilized every other play for the rest of the game.
Well, Washington and Philadelphia now in overtime, tied at 34. Mark Mosley field goal from 48 yards away, tied it at the end of regulation. 2nd and 8 from the Denver 47. And Morton looks to throw. Got the tight end Riley Odoms at midfield, no more. Andre Young, the strong safety, a rookie out of Louisiana Tech, a 10th round draft pick, making the stop on number 88, Riley Odoms.
And Riley hasn't had a whole lot of action in the 4-game preseason where the Broncos were 4-0. Riley has to be put into their offensive scheme of things to get the double coverage off of Steve Watson.
Ball placed at the San Diego 49. It's a 3rd and 4. Watson is to the right and Upchurch left. Wilhite and Parros. The running backs, Morton back in the shotgun. And Watson could not hang on. Penalty marker down.
Pass intended for Watson, incomplete. Penalty flag on the play.
Woodrow Lowe with the hard hit on Steve Watson. And a flag in the Denver backfield.
Well, the excellent rusher. You can see the holding. Tom Bass is going to put some new scheme.
64, decline, 4th down.
The new defensive coordinator of the Chargers, Tom Bass, will be putting an awful lot of new wrinkles into his offense. That's something you won't see maybe the rest of the year. A drop ball by Steve Watson.
And the holding penalty on Denver declined. So here is Luke Prestridge back at his 36-yard line. And that's James Brooks awaiting the kick. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in this first quarter. He tried to angle it out of bounds, but could not. It's a 49-yard punt when we resume following this timeout. San Diego will take over. Back to a chilly Denver, Colorado. Denver coach Dan Reeves looking on. His Broncos trailing San Diego 3-0, 5.5 left. First quarter, Denver 1st and 10. Fouts floating it. Pass intended. Wes Chandler, Aaron Kyle covering on the play.
And it doesn't seem to me that Dan Fouts yet has his feet underneath him. Their timing has been off just enough to make everything incomplete or overthrown.
So Fouts is now 2 for 7 for 24 yards. Now James Brooks in at running back, the lone deep back for the 2nd and 10 at the 20. That's Winslow in motion. And here's Brooks. Out to the 23. Big hole opened up, but the Broncos able to close it. Larry Evans, Steve Foley combining to stop Brooks.
Could there be 3 better receivers in all of football, Mark?
7 to go.
San Diego receivers.
Wes Chandler, a steal from New Orleans.
Oh, I guess.
And a deal San Diego had to make, what with the departure of J.J., the popular John Jefferson. 3rd and 7 now. Back at the San Diego 23. Penalty markers being thrown. Fouts again goes sideline. Joyner picked up the first down, but we'll have to see what the call is. Larry Evans forced him out right at the first down marker. And the referee, Jim Tunney, indicating the offside on Denver.
Offside, defense, 79, decline, 1st down.
Barney Shabus, the left defensive end, called for the offside, and it is a 1st down for the Chargers at their 30-yard line.
And the Broncos are showing a better strength right now against the run than they did all of last year.
John Capoletti has come on out for San Diego. Joyner goes to the left, and Chandler right. And Chandler again to the backfield, but it does not click. And that was a mix-up. Reuben Carter, the nose tackle, made the stop. You'll see an awkward move by Chandler, who appeared to run into his own man.
Well, it's the 2nd time they've had Chandler coming out of the backfield. It may have been a mix-up, but an excellent play by Tom Jackson and number 68, Reuben Carter, the Denver Broncos.
In a surprise move today, Dan Reeves starting Don Latimer at nose tackle, but Carter in the lineup right now. 2nd down play, 2nd and 14. And Fouts combining. Larry Evans making the stop. The tight end Eric Sievers on the reception. Here's a final score in overtime. Mark Mosley from 26 yards away has led the Redskins over the Eagles 37-34 in overtime.
The last of the straight-ahead kickers. Where did the good old boys go?
Oh. Mosley tied it with nothing remaining on the clock in regulation. Here's a 3rd and 6 for the Chargers. Big rush, and Fouts is hit down, but a penalty marker throw. Reddershaw and Sheamus.
The Broncos have been working on the blitz all training camp with the rush, and they put Gradishar and Tom Jackson in. Too much pressure on Dan Fouts. He'll throw it away.
And he's called for intentional grounding. So Fouts on the way down.
We'll see the pressure. But the blitz with Randy Gradishar coming inside.
Illegal pass, intentional grounding. Number 14, penalized at the spot of the pass. Loss him down. Force out.
It's been a rough start for Dan Fouts, although his Chargers lead it 3-0 on a 50-yard field goal by Bernershka. And Maury Buford is back at his 5-yard line. Gerald Wilhite in single safety. Beauty by Buford. Oh, what a punt. And he gets the bounce. Maury Buford, the rookie out of Texas Tech, with a 72-yard punt. Chargers 3, Broncos nothing, is presenting the best of the National Football League. Today's game, Wilhite, looking to go outside, is hit out at the 13 by middle linebacker Cliff Thrift. Incidentally, Jim, they have changed the official distance on that incredible punt by Maury Buford. They say it wasn't 72 yards, it was 71.
And I'm sure he'll take 71. I think we're seeing a change in the San Diego Charger defense. Some more confidence. Maybe Tom Bass has told them, stop reading the papers where everybody knocked them last year. Individually done it. That's a very fine defensive football team.
And Bass has been shuffling between the 4-3 and the 3-4. He promised that we would see more of the 3-4 alignment. Greg Morton has a 2nd and 5 with time. Upchurch poked it up. And it's recovered by San Diego. So the reception by Upchurch, he was jarred. Mike Williams on the San Diego recovery, and the Chargers will take over. They lead it by the score of 3-0.
Craig double teamed on Big Hands Johnson, but it's just good defensive hitting there, and Rick coughs it up. Number 85, Ron Egloff, has a chance to hold on to the ball and can't. Maybe it's wetter on the field than we realize.
And it's Mike Williams, the right cornerback, on the recovery. First down at the 32. This is Muncie trying to pick his way, and he's hit for a loss. Rillon Jones and Bonnie Chavis combined to stop Muncie, who could not find his way as he moved to his left.
Classic football, the #1 passing offense in the NFL against generally regarded maybe the top defense in football.
So the Broncos have turned it over twice. Recoveries by Andre Young and Mike Williams for San Diego. 2nd and 11 as Muncie lost a yard. That's Winslow in motion. About sidearms it. And Sievers could not hang on. Eric Sievers, who had an outstanding preseason in his 2nd year out of Maryland. Voted to several all-rookie teams last year.
Sievers being double covered by Tom Jackson and Larry Evans, and it's a drop ball. He could have caught the ball. I'd continue to look for Dan Fouts to get the ball down towards the end zone. If not a touchdown, another 3 points for Rolf Bernershka.
Fouts is now 4 out of 10, only 39 yards. Denver with the extra defensive back. Fouts going deep. Oh, a spectacular effort. But Scott Fitzke could not hang on. Aaron Kyle covering. A foot race between Kyle and Fitzke, the 4-year man out of Penn State. Watch number 81 as Fouts goes deep down the left side.
And I'm amazed to see Aaron Kyle so mobile. Has separated the rib cartilages last week in the final preseason game against the Jets. Excellent coverage. Another 51-yard attempt by Rolf Bernershka coming up.
All right, they did change the last field goal to a 50-yard successful field goal. Here is Bernershka, same spot. No good. So Rolf Bernershka not able to hit from long range. A 50-yard attempt. And with 1:25 left in this first quarter, the Chargers maintaining the 3-0 lead. We mentioned before the ball game there was a question about who would be the starting quarterback. Jim Turner asked Dan Reeves why Craig Morton.
Well, first of all, Jim, I felt like Craig had an outstanding season for us last year. I really didn't feel like that Craig did not have a good preseason. He only played the last 3 preseason games, very little in the second preseason. But as far as the third and fourth preseason game, he really performed extremely well. Steve DeBerg had an outstanding preseason, and I will not, be reluctant to use Steve DeBerg at any time. But Craig, I think, it's his job, until he loses it.
So Craig drew the starting assignment, and on first down at the 33-yard line, the handoff to Gerald Wilhite picked up 2. It sets up a 2nd and 8 now at the 35 with a minute remaining in this first quarter. And the Chargers leading 3-0 on a 50-yard field goal by Bernerska. The rookie Sammy Winder now in the backfield along with Rick Powell. You saw all kinds of movement. This is Winder. Good second effort. Out to the first down marker. Harry Big Hands Johnson and Ray Preston, left side linebacker, finally hauling Winder down.
And a free play for the Broncos. Obviously, they're offsides. One thing you'll notice about Sammy Winder, the 5th-round draft choice this year, that he will turn it upfield even quicker than the #1 draft choice of the Broncos.
79, decline, made the distance, line to gain, first down.
It's first down.
And a look at the offside movement of Gary Johnson, the right defensive tackle.
And showing an awful lot of confidence in 2 rookie backfield men today in Winder and Wilhite.
Yes, they have been seeing action early in the ball game. 1st and 10 for Denver at the Bronco 44. And this is Wilhite on the sweep. And he moves up near the first down marker. Dave Studd at the right guard with a nice block to unleash Wilhite. Andre Young, the strong safety, made the stop.
And the Broncos brought in about 11 running backs this year. This is what they were looking for, a man that can turn the corner, turn it upfield. And Gerald Wilhite, and their #1 draft choice last year, Marv, the longest run from scrimmage by a Bronco running back with 24 yards.
Gerald Wilhite off to the excellent start with 24 yards on 4 carries. He was just shy of a first down. Time running down in this first quarter, and there's the gun. So at the end of one here at Mile High Stadium in Denver, with the usual sellout crowd of 75,000 plus on hand, it's San Diego 3 and Denver nothing. The first quarter now in the books. Denver leading it, the Chargers leading it by the score of 3-0, and not the explosive football thus far. Denver has coughed it up on 2 occasions. The only score, the 50-yard field goal by Ralph Bernerska. And the first down picked up by Rick Parros, picking his way inside the 40. Free safety Bob Greger made the stop. Dewey Selman also involved in hauling Parros down. Greger starting at free safety. Tim Fox with a sprained ankle. In fact, sat out last week against the Los Angeles Rams. One-time New England Patriot. A scratch today. First down at the Denver 39. And Wilhite on the slant, picks up a couple. Leroy Jones, the left defensive end, making the stop.
Broncos seemingly going into a conservative mode right now. Number 76, Ken Lanier, starting for only his 3rd game, replacing Claudio Miner, who moved over to the left side at left tackle. Broncos, Marv, have the prototype in their backfield. Their 5 backs are what you and I would know as pony backs. They cut their only big back last week, Larry Canada. It kind of shows you that the multiple offense of Dan Reeves puts them in a receiving pattern quite a bit.
So their short yardage specialist now is Rob Lytle, who just did arrive at the ball game because his wife gave birth to a son. Nice swing move, and Parros able to get to the 30-yard line. Cliff Thrift making the stop. Let's go back to NFL 82 for an update. All right, Len. It is a 3rd and 1 from the 30-yard line for Denver. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. And this is Parris. Parris surprised that he was able to get into the clear. Mike Williams, the right corner, finally ran him out, and the Broncos are on the move.
Rick Parris, number 24 out of Utah State. A couple of missed tackles by an aroused San Diego defense so far today. Breaks a couple of tackles. Second effort gets the first down. No mistakes can be made here now. With the rain coming down softly, the field wet, you must come out of it with 3 points.
John Woodcock checking into the San Diego lineup. Leroy Jones departing. It's a 1st and 10 for Denver at the San Diego 21. Here's Wilhite, slipped up, able to recover. No, he was down. The official says he was down. The play continues, but the ball will be brought back. Wilhite hit down, back behind the line as he tried to cut to the left side. And it will be 2nd down. There's the indication.
We're seeing something very uncharacteristic of Denver Bronco football, something called the fumble. That was a strange call in professional football, calling him down there. There wasn't a man on him.
Well, Cliff Thrift got a piece of it. And so the ball is placed back to the 28-yard line. It's a 2nd and about 17. Barrows and Winder now, the running backs. Again, movement and penalty markers down, and Morton is hauled down. So that's the first time that the Chargers have been able to get to Craig Morton, who was sacked 54 times last year, but we'll have to wait and see what the call is. It is against San Diego. The referee, Jim Tunney, with the preliminary indication.
The call may have gone against the Chargers, but we just saw something that is characteristic of the Denver Broncos. Anytime,
Offside, number 91, still 2nd down.
Anytime the defensive team comes with an inside stunt or a blitz, they leave Craig Morton very vulnerable.
Craig, not one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. Also, a major reason that he was sacked 54 times last season. Rick Ackerman called on the penalty. Ackerman, San Diego's left defensive end. It is a 2nd and 12 out the San Diego 23. Draw play, and Parris not able to go anywhere. Wilbur Young, number 99. Inside defensive lineman making the stop.
They look a little tentative, a little conservative. Is Tom Bass's defense doing that well against them?
It'll be a 3rd down and 12 at the 23. Last year, San Diego Chargers, who set a host of offensive records, however, defensively finished last in pass defense and gave up 383 yards a game. Chargers hoping that Tom Bass and his philosophies will turn that around. Morton with much time. Some of the fans were looking for an interference call. Upchurch, the intended receiver, but well covered by Jeff Allen, number 27.
And I'm surprised that Craig Morton is not attempting to test out the 2 gentlemen, Andre Young and Bob Gregor, who have taken over for Bruce Laird and Tim Fox.
And now the rookie, a first-year man out of the University of Cincinnati. I should say actually a first-year man, because he did have a shot in the Houston Oilers camp last year. Rich Carlos with his first official National Football League attempt. DeBerg will hold. It will be from the 31, a 41-yard attempt, and Carlos was having difficulty in the pregame warm-up. No problem here. So Carlos hits on his first field goal attempt in the National Football League, and the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers are tied at 3. Rich Carlos, the man who beat out the veteran Fred Steinfurt, had his difficulties during the warm-up, but comes through with a 41-yard field goal. Here's James Brooks, one of the best in kickoff return. Out of across the 20-yard line. So Brooks returning the Carlos kickoff. Hit down by Rick Dennison. And there's Carlos departing. James Brooks last year averaging 24 yards per return, 5th in the AFC, and off to a good first half here today.
And the San Diego special teams ranked last year #1 in the NFL.
It is a 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line for San Diego. It has not been the aerial show that was advertised to this point, but we're early. Chuck Muncie, nice move. And run out at the 33-yard line. So first down picked up by Muncie. Dennis Smith, the strong safety, second-year man out of Southern California, forcing Muncie out.
It's amazing how a man can be that fast and graceful for his size. An excellent receiver. Missed quite a bit of camp this year. Breaks the tackle. I think that he probably will have to be utilized more today if they're going to come out of this game a victor.
Picked up 11 yards on the play. Gets a breather as we saw him head to the sideline. First down at the 33. Cappelletti now and Brooks in the backfield. Here's John Cappelletti. Good second effort. Up near the 40-yard line. And right now we're going to return you to our studios in New York for an update.
Marv, this is 49ers lead the LA Raiders 7-3. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Lennon, back here in Denver, 2nd and 4 after the 6-yard pickup by Cappelletti. San Diego at its 39-yard line. Look at that movement. And the play blown dead. Don Latimer, the nose tackle, on the move. And it is called against Denver.
Why would you think it's not the aerial show, Marv?
Yeah.
Two very good teams.
Encroachment, 72, 5 yards, makes it a first down.
It's first down.
So it is Latimer. We'll get back to that point in a moment as we take a look at the movement.
RTD driver KL Kruger, report your bus immediately.
Some strange reason, both Fouts and Morton got off in very tentative style, but we are still very early. 10:15 left, second quarter. James Brooks across midfield. Brooks, who can accelerate, stopped by Rillon Jones.
Broncos. Tackled by Gratishar and Chase.
Strong side linebacker number 50, Jim Ryan, replacing Bob Swenson, and he gets caught up in traffic, I should say. Number 21, James Brooks, is so much quicker than Chuck Muncie, and they'll put him in for the special plays.
He has a very powerful upper body, making up for lack of size. Brooks at 5'9", 177. 2nd and 3. And again to the ground. It's Cappelletti. Close to the first down. Barney Chavis, the left defensive end, making the stop. Denver has Chavis, Latimer, and Jones up front. Ryan, Evans, Gratishar, and Jackson are the linebackers as you look at Cappelletti. And the secondary with Wright, Smith, Foley, and Kyle.
One gets the feeling it's just about time for Dan Faust to air one out when he's got Joyner, Kellen Winslow, and Wes Chandler.
Air Coryell will make...
well, they're so excited.
Yes. He had Fouts throwing at the start, but went 1 for 5, and he stays on the ground as Brooks picks up the first down. Steve Foley, the free safety, running Brooks out, and the Chargers on the move in Denver territory with a first down at the 38-yard line.
And they caught the Broncos in a blitz. Randy Gratishar diving up over the middle, and James Brooks' speed making the corner, turning it upfield for the first down.
Don Masick leading the Chargers to the line. 1st and 10 at the 38. That's Winslow peeling to the left. And Fouts able to complete. Wes Chandler on the reception. And hauled down at the 15-yard line. So Dan Fouts with his long gainer of the day. Dennis Smith, Lewis Wright combining. And they spot it at the 17.
Dan Fouts and Burt Jones of the Rams are the only two quarterbacks in the league that would dare throw a ball into coverage like this. 2 men covering Wes Chandler. He just has that much faith in his arm and in his own receivers.
21-yard pass play. 1st and 10 down at the 17. The crowd urging the Bronco defense on. And Fouts hoists it into the end zone. He threw it away. Roland Jones with the hit on Fouts.
Well, the fans want a grounding here, but that was an excellent move by Dan Fouts. Everyone was covered, being harassed by Roland Jones. Throw it away.
It sets up a 2nd and 10 at the 17. And the crowd here at Mile High in Denver looking for the call of intentional grounding. He was hit with it earlier. Now Chandler to the right and Joyner left. Winslow lined up as the tight end on the right side. Fouts is now 5 for 13. Muncy looking to throw on the option. Overthrow. Foley and Wright covering on the play. Chuck Muncy out of the Air Coryell bag of tricks, looking to hit Chandler.
And he threw some passes last year. Obviously, they're looking for him to run. Louis Wright had it covered all the way. Intercepts the ball out of the end zone. Steve Foley on the coverage also. That play works very seldom.
The rain continues to fall here in Denver. You see 8:10 remaining. First half, we're tied at 3. 3rd down and 10 at the Denver 17. Lots of time. Sideline pattern for Charlie Joyner. Bumped out by Dennis Smith. And the Chargers have 1st and goal.
And what a threesome. Joyner, Chandler, and Winslow all on the same side. We may not be able to see it, but Winslow was open in the end zone for a touchdown. Dan goes with the safe pass to the sideline to Joyner. Knocked out of bounds by Dennis Smith.
So San Diego now 1st and goal at the 4-yard line, and Fouts beginning to heat up. 12-yard reception by Joyner. 4-man front now for Denver. Chuck Muncy back to the line of scrimmage.
This is where the Denver Bronco linebackers seem to pick up the defense, get them strong, but they've been on the field an awful long time. Fouts may be heating up. The Broncos have been on the field a long while.
Randy Gradishaw, Roland Jones stopping Muncy. The ball is just outside the 4. Couple of field goals. Carlos from 41, Bernerschke from 50. That's been the story. 7.5 left in this first half. We're tied at 3. 2nd and goal. Muncy trying to pick his way. Flag is thrown. Dennis Smith on the tackle, and the penalty against San Diego.
I think we're going to see that it was holding against.
All right, we will hear it officially from the referee, Jim Tunney.
Holding 62, 10 yards, still 2nd down.
It's the center, Don Masick, 7-year man out of Boston College, called for the hold. A critical call against the Chargers.
And he was holding number 68 nose tackle, Reuben Carter. That is a very fine offensive line at San Diego Chargers.
San Diego 2nd and goal, now back at the 14. Fouts dumps it off. Eric Sievers stopped inside the 10 by Reuben Carter.
Tackle by Carter.
Broncos had triple coverage on Kellen Winslow that time, and Dan shakes him up and comes to an under screen to number 85, Eric Sievers, to the backside. They had 3 men on Kellen Winslow, expecting him to receive the ball.
It is now 3rd and goal at the 7. And the chant of defense. Clock running, 6.5 left, first half. We're tied at 3. Fouts looking end zone. Chandler has it deflected away, and he's shaken up. Steve Foley with the hard hit on Wes Chandler. And Foley also felt the impact.
An excellent throw into coverage. The ball was right on the money by Dan Fouts. He's so much confidence in the arm. And an excellent hit, obviously, by Steve Foley, making sure that the ball was not caught for a touchdown. But we'll see it again. We'll be able to see the play open up now in the formation with Chandler coming down and in, and Foley laying in the back of the end zone, and Dan throwing it right in. This ball could have been caught.
Ralph Bernerschke will make his way out of the field, but a timeout has been called. 6:28 left in this first half tie ball game. Turner, it appears to be the wrist of Steve Foley involved in that collision and breaking up the pass attempt for Wes Chandler.
And another field goal attempt for Ralph Bernerschke.
He is 1 for 2 on the day, hit from 50 yards out earlier, and then he missed from 50. Here's another look with Fouts fading back and looking end zone for Chandler.
It looks like they're working on the wrist of Steve Foley. We may be able to see it, although it's just so tight in there. He's grabbing his arm right now. Got caught in the gem up in there.
Chandler was shaken up, but apparently he is all right. Foley taking his time. Steve Foley in a 7th year out of Tulane. Led the club in interceptions last year with 5.
And I'm sure if Foley comes out, we'll see number 31, Mike Harden, come into the game as the 5th defensive back. Richie McCabe, the Broncos defensive backfield coach, proclaimed Mike Harden the most valuable player in preseason this year, and yet he's not a starter.
Harden has been versatile, can play all deep back positions. Came up with an interception last week in the final preseason game against the Jets, right at 54 yards for a touchdown.
Marv, I was lucky to kick a few field goals in my lifetime, but number 6, Ralph Bernerschke, I think along with Nick Lowry of Kansas City, is the most competent field goal kicker in the game today.
And this will be a 25-yard attempt. Luther puts it down, and an easy one for Bernerschke. So Bernerschke now 2 out of 3 on the day, and with 6:25 left in this first half, he has put the Chargers on top by the score of 6-3. Identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
KCST TV, San Diego.
Marv Albert, Jim Turner from Mile High in Denver, Colorado, as you are looking at Ralph Bernerschke, who just hit from 25 yards out, his 2nd field goal of the day to give the Chargers a 6-3 lead on the Broncos. And Bernerschke getting set to kick off to the combination of Wade Manning and Gerald Wilhite. And some repair work by Bernerschke, the football coming off the tee.
Oh, he just knew he was on the air. He wanted to get a little more screen time.
That San Diego drive, which concluded with the field goal, 13 plays, 71 yards. And the line drive is taken by Manning. Out to the 20. Across the 25-yard line. So the return by Wade Manning in his 3rd year out of Ohio State. He is stopped by Bruce Laird, who is playing with a broken wrist that was suffered some 10 days ago. A look at the special teams led by Hank Bauer, one of the finest special team people in the NFL.
Well, the game is 22 to 25% of every game of special teams, and Hank has paid his dues every year in there.
Flag on the play. And they are marking it off against Denver.
Holding 57 during the run back. 10 yards. First down.
It is Tom Jackson called for the hold during the return by Manning. So Denver is pushed back to their 15-yard line. 1st and 10 at the 15. It's Watson. Out to the left side. Running backs are Wilhite and Parros. Craig Morton on the delay for Parros.
And off is Parros.
Louis Kelcher, the 8-year man out of Southern Methodist. Now the Toledo scale stops at 299.
Well, they say Louis is about 290, but he has to be 310. one of the all-time very, very fine football players. Billy Bryan, the center of the Denver Broncos, just dreads the day that he has to play against Louis.
Louis returning from his 19-day retirement earlier in August. Stopped Parros, who picked up only 1, 2nd and 9 at the 16. And Morton to throw. Egloff on the reception. Jeff Allen, the left cornerback, makes the stop. San Diego with Jones, Kelcher, Johnson, Woodcock up front. Thrift, Preston, and Lewis. The linebackers, Allen, Greger, Young, and Williams. In the secondary. Check of the scoreboard. Cincinnati defeating Houston 27-6. Atlanta over the Giants 16-14. In overtime on the Mark Mosley field goal, Washington beating Philly 37-34. Wild one, Green Bay beating the LA Rams 35-23. Denver with a 3rd and 3 from their 22. Sammy Winder on the sweep. Oh, what a pop he took out at the 25-yard line. Cliff Thrift, the middle linebacker, upending Sammy Winder. David Lewis combining with Thrift, and Winder hearing it from the crowd. And here's another final. Buffalo over Kansas City earlier today, 14-9. Detroit knocking off Chicago 17-10. And St. Louis opening with the victory over New Orleans. Minnesota beating Tampa Bay. Winder picks up the first down out the 25-yard line. And the swing for Wilhite. Wilhite very tough in the open field. Another Denver first down. Their first-round draft pick. Gerald Wilhite out of San Jose State, stopped by Cliff Thrift.
A moving screen to Gerald Wilhite, sending everybody, all the receivers down to clear out the area. Gerald Wilhite catches, shows his prowess that he had in college in pass receiving. Just a very good call by Craig Morton. You find it strange in a game like this where Steve Watson seemingly last year owned the Chargers that they've only attempted to pass to him one time, Mark.
He has been in a decoy role. Wilhite picked up 14 on that reception. Beautiful moves by Winder. Andre Young stopping the rookie Sammy Winder. It is close to the first down marker, so Dan Reeves utilizing the rookies with success.
And not afraid to use them. Many people in Colorado show the renewed excitement in Winder and Wilhite that they had in number 24, Otis Armstrong, when he was the premier running back of the Denver Broncos.
32 yards picked up on 4 rushing attempts by Winder. And Morton throwing. Upchurch with the first down. Bob Greger drilling Upchurch.
And you're listening to the fan appreciation, because it's not a secret in Denver that Rick Upchurch does not like to go across the middle, does not like to get hit. And I think that we're going to see the shot that he does take, and the fact that he holds on. Maybe they'll utilize him in the offense that much more.
He has had a strange career, disappointing last season, although he did play hurt, caught only 32 passes, and he has had that rap against him. Morton again with time. Egloff, the tight end. Another Denver first down, out to the 22-yard line. David Lewis and Bob Greger combining on the tackle.
Broncos in a double tight end situation, sending Upchurch, Watson, and Riley Odoms long, leaving Egloff in as a blocker, and then he slips off. You can see it in the multiple offensive, Dan Reeves. Right there may be the best number 2 tight end in the NFL, Ron Egloff.
6-year man out of Wisconsin, picked up 15, the clock winding down. We approach 2 minutes left first half. Penalty marker throw, as Leroy Jones was able to make the stop on Rick Parros. And we await the call from Jim Tunney. It is holding on the Broncos. Tunney working along with Dave Moss, the umpire, Sid Seaman, the head linesman, the line judge Boy Smith, the back judge Pat Knight, side judge Gil Mace, and Johnny Greer is the field judge.
Holding, 64. Still first down.
Billy Bryan, the Denver center, called for the hold.
You always find it difficult to understand why a hold on a running play when you're on the 20-yard line going in to score.
But Bryan hit with the hold, so it will be a 1st and 20. Back at the 32. Craig Morton is now 9 for 12 for 94 yards. Swinging it to Wilhite. Nowhere to go. Pickup of 1. Gets to the 31. Carlos Bradley in on the stop. And here's the 2-minute warning. Chargers leading the Broncos 6-3. Safety Steve Foley, who injured his arm in a collision with Wes Chandler earlier the second quarter. Looks like he's headed to the locker room.
Marv, San Diego is conceding the short pass. My amazement is that Craig Morton has not attempted to challenge number 43, Bob Gregor, 49, Andre Young.
And now Watson is out to the left. It's a 2nd and 19 at the 31. And again, he goes short. Harris. Short pickup again. Andre Young, the strong safety who has played very well this first half. Earlier, he recovered a fumble, able to push Paros out of bounds.
And they didn't get as much out of that swing pass as they wanted to. Excellent support by number 49, Andre Young.
Well, to this point, Tom Bass has to be satisfied with the work of his defensive unit. San Diego leading it by the score of 6-3. This was expected to be a very wide-open, high-scoring ball game. We have 1:46 to go until halftime. 3rd down and 15. Morton completes to Upchurch. And let's see, did he fumble? San Diego indicating that they came up with the football. The question is, was the play blown dead? No, it was not. Upchurch took the hard hit for the second time this first half. He has coughed it up, and now here's it from the crowd. San Diego has recovered.
And Tom Bass, the new defensive coordinator of the San Diego Chargers, says the one thing I want my guys to do is hit. And we're going to see a hit right now on number 80, Rick Upchurch, to cough this ball up. The defense of the Chargers is hitting.
All right, we'll be back with 1:37 remaining in this first half. San Diego will take over. They lead it 6-3. Tom Bass, the new defensive coordinator for San Diego, and he has to be very pleased with what he has seen. A hard hit by Dewey Selman, setting up that fumble by Upchurch. Muncie, the ball carrier. The fumble by Upchurch recovered by Ray Preston, a left side linebacker. So the Broncos have coughed it up 3 times now. We have 1:31 remaining in this first half. A timeout has been called. We'll be right back here in Denver. In contrast to the meeting between the Chargers and Broncos last year, with Craig Morton hitting 17 of 18, 308 yards, 4 touchdowns. And of course, Dan Fouts has been quiet to this point. Right now, he has a 2nd and 9 at the San Diego 14. And playing it conservatively. Muncie ripping straight ahead.
Well, a very good call with only 1:20 before the half. You don't want to fumble and give the Denver Broncos anything cheap to cheer them up before they go in at halftime.
Successful draw play for Chuck Muncie. Mike Harden making the stop out at the 27-yard line. So a 1st down for the Chargers. A minute remaining now in the half. Cappelletti, Latimer, and Jackson combined on the stop. It's been an exchange of field goals. Ralph Bernerschke hitting 2, 1 from 25, 1 from 50, and the rookie Rich Carlos.
And a contradiction from last year's game. Those 4 touchdowns by Craig Morton were all in the first half against the Chargers.
Chargers and Broncos split the season series last year. Remember, Denver has won 7 straight home openers. They've lost only once in a home opener the last 13 years. Again, the handoff. This is James Brooks. Nice run by Brooks for a San Diego 1st down out across the 40-yard line. Time running down. Clock has been stopped. A timeout called with 15 seconds remaining. So the timeout called, and we'll be back in a moment. A preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Marv Albert, Jim Turner from Denver, Colorado. Chargers lead the Broncos 6-3, 15 seconds remaining first half, and San Diego first down at its 40-yard line. And Fouts looking for Chandler in a wrestling match with Louis Wright.
Pass is complete.
Wes Chandler and Louis Wright contesting for the football. We have 6 seconds remaining.
Would you have ever thought, Marv, that they would have come up with a long pass like that just prior to the halftime? Excellent coverage by Louis Wright. I think they were just trying to get the ball in field goal range for another Bernishka field goal.
Field goal team is in.
Well, the field goal team has come on, but this will be a Jim Turner special.
This is exactly where he made 6 for 6 in warm-ups, going both ways. He's kicking to the north in the stadium right now. It would be a 58-yard attempt, and he made 6 for 6 in warm-ups.
Rolfe is 2 for 3 on the day. Ed Luther will put it down. And it is way off. It was low and to the right. So that is the way the first half comes to a conclusion as Bernishka not able to hit from 58 yards away. And it has been a field goal battle in this first half. The San Diego Chargers on a 50-yard field goal by Bernishka, and then one from 25 over the Denver Broncos, who got a 41-yard field goal from first-year player Rich Carlos. Denver has coughed it up on 3 occasions. Rick Upchurch fumbling twice. San Diego at halftime leading.